Hello, welcome to ellieV Toys. Right back when I started ellieV Toys YouTube channel, I was on the hunt for the elusive unicorn girl and I found her. It was very exciting. But this was, what, like 3.5 years ago? I found her. I have still got her. She holds a very, very special place in my heart. But she's a minifigure and I like minifigures. They're okay, but I love Minidoll. So today we're going to not just dress up a Minidoll as a unicorn, because that works okay, but it doesn't work very well actually for the tail. Let me show you, though you probably already know this. When you put a minifigure waist accessory onto a Minidoll, it does not fit at all. You have to kind of just, you know, angle them so you can't see that big other bit jutting out the side. So today we're going to make a custom unicorn Minidoll, which is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I've chosen an existing Minidoll outfit, which is actually one of ellieV's outfits, which I think will work really well with the silver and the white and the blue stars. And we're going to actually put the unicorn horn and the ears directly onto the hairpiece. Now, I would normally use polymer clay to add things to Minidolls, but I really don't think this rubbery hairpiece will stand up to going into the toaster oven to bake the polymer clay. I think it would warp. So we're going to do something different today. We are going to use this stuff, which is a molding putty, which is actually a 2-part epoxy. So it dries at room temperature, so we don't have to bake it. This is called brown stuff. It is like green stuff, except it is harder. It dries harder and it's a little bit easier to work with because it's firmer. And it comes in these 2 parts. So we actually mix the 2 parts together. And when they start mixing, the chemical, well, when they are mixed, the chemical reaction starts and they start hardening. You get 90 minutes of working time with it. And we'll start up by just cutting across the tape here, so we get hopefully 2 equal parts. So we want the silver and we want the brown, and we need to cut off this little strip where they've actually touched each other, because that part there will already be starting to cure or starting to harden, so it won't work properly. So we want to get rid of that. And then I'm going to roll our 2 parts into balls so that I can see that, oh, hold on, here's a bit that I need to cut off. So I want them in 2 balls so that I can see that they are reasonably much the same size, because we want equal parts of both. So once we've done that, we mix it together, and it really has to be well mixed. So we're going to mix, and we're going to speed this up, and we're going to get this metallic-y, shiny, bronzy color, and we know when it looks even that it's mixed. Okay, now I have very definitely mixed up way too much more than I'm going to need, but I'll show you how we use it. So I've got a tiny bit here because the unicorn, the horn's going to be really tiny, and I want to make a spirally horn out of this. So to do that, I want 2 very small tubes, and that's way too long, and that's going to be way too thick. So let me see, I'm going to cut that in half, and then I'm going to cut what's left in half again, and I'm going to make 2 little pointy sausages out of these balls. And then we got 1, and that is starting to stick to my fingers. I'll show you, if it's starting to stick to your fingers, you need to keep your fingers wet when you're working with this stuff, otherwise it really does stick to your fingers. So let me go and let me stick these 2 together, because they stick so well. And let me just go and wet my fingers before I do anything else, so that I don't ruin it by having to peel it off my fingers. We'll twist it until we've got a horn shape, look! And now we need to, this is so fiddly, if I can stick this in here, we've got a unicorn horn, which is going to eventually be permanently attached to this hairpiece. Now to do that, we're going to just very gently go around here and blend the bottom of it down into the hairpiece so it looks like it is all together eventually. Because once this is all finished, we're going to paint up the horn and the hair and the ears, because at the moment it just looks like this big shiny grey blob on top of her head. But when it's painted, it will look magnificent, I hope, if everything goes to plan. So that looks good. I have to kind of avoid touching it too much now because I don't want to squeeze that spiral shape out of it. So next up, let's make some ears. I've got another small ball, and we're going to roll this into a little fat sausage, and we're going to cut that in half so we've got 2 equal parts. So 2 equal sized balls to make hopefully equal sized ears. And we're going to flatten our little ball, and then we're going to make a triangle by just pinching it in our fingers like that. So I've got 1 there, And my fingers are still wet so that this does not stick to my fingers. Otherwise, yeah, it is so sticky. Okay, I think they look kind of even. We're going to reshape them once they are on the hairpiece. So let's put them on. Actually, before we put them on, I need to put another little bit, just squish some putty already on here, and that'll give it something to grab onto. Because this stuff loves to stick to itself. So if I blend that on nicely, no one's going to know that's there once I've painted it, because it'll all be one colour, and it will give these ears a much firmer foundation to hold onto. So very gently, oh, I don't want any on her skirt. I'm getting little bits of it everywhere. Very gently we're going to put the ears on, make sure they're evenly placed, and that one's not the same shape. So I'm going to fiddle with these a bit and see whether I can get them evenly placed and evenly shaped, and then I'm going to leave them alone and let them dry. And like I said before, this stuff, green stuff, takes an hour and a half to properly cure, so you can't work with it anymore after that, but then you have to wait 24 hours for it to fully cure, to go completely hard. And now we're going to blend this into that putty that we've already put on her hairpiece, and it'll all look like one big ear. No, it'll look like two cute little ears that have been perfectly blended coming out of the hair. That's what we're aiming for in the end. And if we blend these on beautifully as well, it means that they're going to be ever so secure. So if we take the time and the patience now to do things properly, I won't have to glue them on later when they might accidentally come off. Okay, they look reasonably evenly pointed. So we are going to leave this alone to dry. And while it's doing that, we're going to make the tail piece. Now, I'd actually normally make this out of polymer clay, but because I've already got brown stuff here already made up, let's use this, and we'll just have to wait a little bit longer for it to dry. So we're going to make the waistband first, and I'm not going to use my proper girl for this. I'm going to get a stunt doll, one that I don't mind if it gets a bit grubby, and I'm going to wrap it around here. But before we do that, I'm going to coat this with oil, and this is going to help it not stick. I hope. No, it is. It's definitely going to help it not stick. It's still going to need some help getting off once it's dry, but this is going to help it not bond to the plastic. So let's wrap this around the waist, and I'm making it thicker than I'm going to need it because I know I can sand it down later after it's dry. So we'll make a really, really neat waistband and blend that in at the back. Lots of blending needs to be done so that everything is seam free. And now if I put the body on and squash it down just a little bit, and now I can just smooth it over. And that should be beautiful. That should be a really nice base for our tail, and we'll add that on once this is dry. So I'll see you in 24 hours. What a lovely sleep. Everything should be dry now. Now, I actually had a go at making a tail straight onto the waistband in one go. This was my attempt at doing that, and it was fiddly and it was not fun. So doing it in a couple of parts is a much better idea, but I will use this tail for another unicorn, so you wait for that. But this one is ready to go. Look at that. Look how easily that came off. It's going to be a bit harder down here, so I'm going to use a sharp craft blade to just gently release down the bottom all the way around. And then once I've just released all the way around, I can gently lever it up just by wiggling the blade really gently. Have you heard the words gently? Because it's really important that we do it gently. And that looks like it's coming up really nicely. So this is a lot more work than doing it with the polymer clay, and I do prefer using polymer clay because I can bake in the oven and it's ready really, really quickly, like in 15 minutes. But there is appeal to using this too because you don't run the risk of actually melting your mini dolls. So this is looking really good. We're going to sand the bottom and the top to just even it up a little bit, make it a bit smoother to put on and off as the waistband before we add the tail. So both sides equally. And yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'll just use a pointy tool to clean out the inside. You could use a toothpick for this. And then let's check its fit on the mini doll. It should fit really, really snugly. That's marvelous. That's really great. Okay, all right. So a tail. For the tail, we are going to use polymer clay because we can attach it to the waistband, and I'll show you how in a moment. But we are going to make this snowy, cloudy white. It's going to be just beautiful and angelic and ethereal, and I am going to make this extravagant. I'm not going to make a little pokey tail out the back. I'm going to make a big, well, I plan to. I'm going to make a big swirly tail that you can actually see from the front when the mini doll is facing forwards. So let me see about lengthwise. So we're going to tippy it up at the end, and we're going to need just some big, well, tail-like swirls. And I don't want that flat. I'm going to round that up again. So that's a good base, I think. Let's have a look. Let's see. Yeah, I think that will do. So that's going to be our middle part of the tail. And then we're going to have a couple more, one on the top and one on the bottom, to just make it look, well, look like a tail. Oh, that reminds me, I loved your comments in my little teaser picture when I put kind of this up and asked what I was making. And some of you knew it was a unicorn tail. And some of you said it was like a cloud or like slime cloud dough or something like that. And it's not slime, but it's definitely supposed to be cloudy. So you're on the right track, but there were a whole heap of you. You knew I was making a unicorn. So this little part down here is going to be the bottom. Gonna add some contours to it. That's very sweet. And if I'm being particularly clever, I should be able to make this balance the unicorn, because it's going to be really heavy on the back. So I might have to have it touch the ground. I'll definitely have to have it touch the ground. I'm going to cut this on an angle at the back because it's way too thick where it's going to connect to the waistband. In fact, I think it's probably going to have to be big anyway to have a really good connection. Well, that looks so great from the front. Oh, I like that. Oh, this is going to look spectacular. All right, I'll tease it up a little bit more. Keep poking little bits of it into shape. But I think that's pretty much what we want it to look like. So, because this is polymer clay, I can now take this away exactly as it is and bake it in the oven. And in 15 minutes, it's done. And I like how quick that is. So this is nice and hard, and it's ready to be attached to the waistband. Oh, that looks great. So how are we going to attach this? Well, we're going to attach it with some more brown stuff. So let me see. I have got some already made up here, and we're going to use this. It sticks so beautifully to itself, and we'll be able to blend it onto the polymer clay so that it will hold it on nice and firmly when it's dry too. So we're going to blend down into our contours, and it's going to hold on beautifully firmly and make a wonderful tail. Okay, let's squish this onto the waistband. When I said squish, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to squish it some more. Kind of just looks poked on there. Oh, no, let's take that off. We'll try again. I'll try bringing it more to a point and see if that looks kind of less dodgy, because that's really dodgy. It just needs a better shape, I think. Okay, that looks a lot better. So we're going to squish that on there, and we're going to blend it around, and then I'm going to poke it in with my little pokey tool. And really blend it all together. Now it looks really weird at the moment, but when it's painted and all the same colour, you won't even notice that's there. So we've got some gorgeous, gorgeous stars to decorate this with. I'm very excited to do that, but we have to wait for another 24 hours. So How was that? Was that good 24 hours? I enjoyed that. So her unicorn head is ready. We can paint it all up now, and the tail pieces turn out really nicely. As the polymer was drying, I actually added some texture to it. Now we have to see if it will come off, and it is coming off really nicely. Good. That is absolutely extravagant and a gorgeous big tail, but it's a unicorn, guys. It needs to be absolutely extravagant and luscious and gorgeous. And let's see how it's actually going to look. So we are going to paint it white. We're going to make it snowy white, and then we're going to add some stars to it. So, you know, unicorns are creatures of the night and of clouds and stars and magical things, so we're going to make it just look beautiful. Okay, it's ready. We're going to take these off now, and before we paint them we must wash them in warm soapy water. So all washed. There, that's good. Let's start with the hairpiece, and we are going to paint it all snowy white. Oh, it's gonna look gorgeous. So lots and lots of white, though we don't want to put a thick layer on at a time. We want to put on several layers of thin white paint, and that way we'll get a much smoother, even surface. If I can get it to stay on the stand, it just keeps moving around. I will hold it and hopefully not smear the paint too much with my fingers, though it doesn't matter too much because it's just the first coat. Okay, that looks pretty cute. We'll put the white on the ears too because they're poking up out of the hair. Well, they are made out of the hair because they're the fur, right? And the hair's the fur too. And we're going to make the unicorn horn another colour, obviously. So we'll see what colour is going to go with the colour scheme that we've chosen. Probably silver. I think we're going to end up with a silver horn. But let's start with the white. So the hair's good. Now let's do the tail, and we're going to need more layers up here to cover up our brown stuff, and then we'll extend it down onto the tail. It's just going to look like a big cloud sweeping out from the side of the unicorn. It's going to look spectacular, but we are going to have to wait for this paint to dry before we fiddle with it again. So where am I going to put this to dry? Oh, hold on, I'll get some blue tack. There we go. Blue tack's so useful. Okay, next layer, up to the second coat. And it is definitely starting to look magnificent. That's gorgeous. Okay, the tail's not going to be quite so much fun because I'm going to have to find some way to hold it and paint it down the bottom. We'll go as far down as we can without needing to paint where I'm touching. And then we will paint that bit that hasn't been painted. And the top part is dry. And now I need to put it somewhere to just make sure it all dries. So this is my clever solution, is a pair of tweezers, and I'll hang them on an angle out of the blue tack and just hope that it all holds steady till it's dry. Good, I'm going to put them in the sun, and that's going to help them dry a little bit faster because I'm impatient now. It's time to decorate them. So the white looks gorgeous. I'm actually going to put a really, really light grey, a really dove grey, just inside the ears. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but it is just the lightest grey. And it looks so soft. There we go, the ears are good. And now for the unicorn horn. It is definitely going to be silver. And it's so much fun when you get to painting on the final details. That's gorgeous. We'll let that dry. And now let's add some decoration to the tail. So we'll put the tail on. I painted on the inside of that. That's kind of silly, but it's going to get pushed out. But that's all right. It looks gorgeous. Gorgeous. Oh my goodness, that's turned out so well. We're going to add some blue stars to the sweep of the tail. So I've gone to all that trouble to put it on. I'm going to take it off again just to get up in here. We're going to put some glue on, some nice clear glue, and we're going to add sparkles. I love sparkles, and unicorns love sparkles, and the two just work so beautifully together. And I've got a few different variations of blue on here, so we're going to really mix it up and just make it look so sparkly. this is very therapeutic, putting all these sparkles on. And on the middle part too of the back of the tail, lots and lots of blue stars in lots of different shades. Oh, that's looking gorgeous. Some more up here near the top. I feel as though we can't have too many stars. What do you think? I also feel as though I'm pushing it a bit, trying to put it on here while this glue's still wet. But I want to see what it looks like, and I just can't wait for it to dry. I've displaced a few of them. That's right, I can move them around while the glue's still wet. And I'm going to add more. More. Especially here on the back. Oh, it's gorgeous. She's kind of a little bit off balance. She does balance, but I'm going to put her on this cloud stand, which is one that comes with the Unikitty figures, the minifigures. So it's perfect for a unicorn. Let's see how her hair looks. She looks so snowy and just cloudy and beautiful and white and blue and moonlight and just so lovely. But she needs more blue stars. Let's put more on. Oh, she's gorgeous. Let's put just a couple up here in her hair, just to tie it all in. And maybe one more over here. Actually, I might just put a white one up there so it just sparkles but you can't see it, and a blue one over on the other side. And now she's ready. The stars are falling out of the sky to come and meet her. She's gorgeous. But you know what? I couldn't actually stop with one unicorn, so I made another one, a rainbow unicorn. Would you like to meet her? She gets her own little cloud stand too. And I dipped her skirt in starlight, so she is super duper sparkly, and I made her a tail which is not quite as extravagant, but it is also rainbowy and sparkly. And I think that she's definitely a rainbow unicorn, this one. We've got rainbow unicorn and cloud and starshine unicorn. Do those sound like good names for them? I think, well, you can tell me in the comments what you think we should name these unicorns, because I am very excited to finally have unicorn mini dolls, and unicorn girl minifigure is also happy to have some friends to hang out with. Now, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do, because then you will have us as friends to hang out with. Let me know what you would like to see as a custom mini doll, and I will see you with a new video very soon. Bye!